Here's how to find do in any key. Now, so as you get into moving into other keys other than C major, you're going to want to be able to do this easily and quickly. And so here are some tricks. Using this method now, you really don't care about the clef or the names of the notes, right? Because really, all you're doing is singing. You're just looking at this for singing, and you're looking to hear the music in your mind and sing the solfege, which means you don't care about um, the names of the notes. You do care about the solfege, which means you need to find do. You need to find do on the staff. You don't necessarily need to know the name of do, although you'll be able to do both. But here's the trick. Okay, so there is a trick for doing the flats and a trick for doing the sharp keys. So let's start with the sharp keys. Notice that in the key of C, we've got our C's trained here. You can follow the C's here on the grand staff, middle C, and this C, C3. So you know how to find the C's. Of course, you know there's C's down below. For reviewing seeing the C's, you can see the other video about that. All right, now, in the key of G, it's one sharp. Here's do, here's do, here's do, and do, mi, so, all the way up. You know what those look like. So how are you going to find those if you just see a sharp? If you just see one sharp in the key signature, how are you going to do that? Well, the most recently added sharp is the leading tone of the key. All right, I'll say that again. The most recently added sharp is the leading tone of the key. So I see this only sharp. I see that is the leading tone, which means do lives right above it. So I can let my eye know that the top space above the staff is do, and then by extension an octave below is do. An octave below is do. And then here's the most recently added sharp, this singular sharp, and one step above it is do. Let's go to D. Two sharps. So now we've added one sharp, and that sharp is the leading tone. So I know that it's one step up to the D. Of course, this only works for major keys. So one step above the most recently added sharp is do. Here it is. And then an octave below, and here's the bass clef version. The most recently added sharp, which means it's the rightmost sharp, and up a step is do. Now let's see in the key of A. Here we've got the most recently added sharp. I don't even care what it is. Like if I'm just looking at it in a weird clef that I don't know so well, I don't really mind that because I find the most recently added, the rightmost sharp, and up a step is my do. The most recently added sharp is the leading tone of the key. And so here it is. Right? Here's the most recently added sharp. Up a step is do. Down an octave is another place where it is. So I do with my eye what I've done for you here, which is to kind of illuminate in my mind the second space. Similarly, here is the most recently added sharp, and a step up is do. Okay, key of E. Now you might not know this. All you're given is the key signature and a step up from the most recently added sharp. In other words, a step up from the rightmost sharp gives us our do, and an octave down. So I train my eye to see, oh, the bottom line is do. Oh, and here's the most recently added, the rightmost sharp, right there, and then a step up is Take it one more, the key of B. Here's the most recently added. I train my eye to look up one step, and there we go, along the middle line of the treble staff, and then along the second line of the bass staff. Finally, the key of F sharp. You might look at this and freak out. Oh my gosh, 6 sharps, yikes. But we don't really care because we find the rightmost one and go up a step to find do. And then down an octave to find this first space. And in our mind, we're illuminating these different reference points or lighthouses. Rightmost sharp and the second space from the top, do. Now, the flat keys. Works a little differently. We start with F, the key of F, 1 flat, okay? And we can turn on our lighthouses here. The bottom space here is do. That's F, the F of face. Face spells the spaces. The top line, F, and then that F. So that doesn't, we're not using our trick here, okay? But now we go to the key of B flat. Here's B flat is do, and here's B flat. So now with 2 flats, you can see that the second most recently added flat is do. It is do. The second most recently added flat is do. So here I look, I see 2 flats, I count back 1, and I see this flat. And that tells me where it is. It's on the middle line of that staff and the second line of this staff. Okay, where's do here? I look 1, 2 flats back from the right, and that is my do. Right? The top space, the third space, and the bottom line, finding this by dropping this down an octave. Okay, same thing. The second most recently added flat, remembering that we're adding flats going to the right, going down by fifth as we go around the circle of fifths. Okay, so now the second from the right flat is this one. Maybe it's in a different clef, right? Maybe we've got a alto clef or a tenor clef, but we don't really worry about that because we're just locking on to the second line or the second space, the same place where A flat is, or where the second flat. Same thing down here. 1, 2 flats is do. D flat, oh, maybe our brain is starting to get upset. We count 1, 2 flats in, and that's our do. That's our do. That's not our do. Okay, I messed that all up. Goodbye. Okay, now G flat. Here we go. I'm telling you now that it's G flat, but I'm also showing you, count in 1, 2 flats. And that is our do. Right like that. That is our do. An octave higher than this one, and we found this one by counting in 1, 2. Counted in 1, 2, and then up an octave. Okay, go get 'em. Don't be daunted by many different key signatures, because now you know how to find do in any major key.